top. 3.
Ready? Welcome to 5 to 9, the movie game for movie fans. We have to connect actors to actors through no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg, and we are coming to you live on tape from the boardwalk in beautiful Asbury Park, New Jersey. Do you love movies? Do you love getting lost in the Internet Movie Database, the IMDb? Do you love talking through, who is that guy? Who is in that thing? What's his face? Then this is your show, and this is your game. In just a moment, I'm going to introduce today's contestants, but first I want to remind you that if you'd like to be a contestant on 5 to 9, you can enter for a chance to be on our show by beating us at our own game. Just download or purchase official 5 to 9 game cards at 5to9game.com. That's the number 5. TO, the number 9, game.com. Beat our score for any of today's challenges. Post a photo of your winning game card on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and tag at 5to9game in your post. So, today we're going to be welcoming 2 guests, and our first contestant today, he is a man who, in our pre-show questionnaire, he wishes Disney would just stop remaking live-action movies, but he does want to see them remake a live-action Robin Hood, CGI, Fox, and all. Everybody, please welcome Jason Portizo.
Oh, hey.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
On?
So, Jason, you are a man about town here in Asbury Park.
I do. I walked here.
Yeah, and you run sound for a lot of venues here in town. And in addition to that, you also host not just an open mic on Tuesday nights at the Asbury Hotel, but you also host a game night on Thursday nights at the Asbury Hotel. Can you tell me about the game night?
Yeah, game night is on Thursdays from 7 o'clock to 11 o'clock over at the Asbury Hotel. It's about a block away from the studio that we're at right now. It's board games, tabletop games, all modern stuff. I bring stuff out of my personal collection of about 120 games, and I will sit there and teach you how to play everything. I will make sure that you find a game that you like. If you've never played modern games, you've never played board games, I will find something that's in your style and teach you how to play it. It won't pick up.
No, it's picking up. What is it?
It's a blender from Pliable.
Oh.
It's President's Day. They're never open on Monday.
Oh. Maybe we can edit this out.
Most definitely in post, it won't be there.
Just cut the part where we're talking about it. Or we can just, make mention of it. Tell them our smoothie's almost ready.
Son of a bitch. How hard are those bananas?
Bananas didn't know what blended them. So yeah, board games are cool, right?
What other music do I hear?
It's probably because the game's all the way up. That's the thing.
Maybe. All right, so we'll pick it up from there. Try to edit together later. Right, so you're wrapping up that, and I was going to say, and open mic you do on Tuesday nights, and how does that generally run?
Open mic is Tuesday nights from 8 to 11. Sign up starting at 7:30. It's more geared towards an acoustic show, but I do get the occasional electric guitar or small band with hand drums or things like that. I've had stuff. As for non-musicians, I've had jugglers. We had a magician show up pretty recently, and that was a lot of fun. We get all kinds of stuff. So it's really just open mic. The mic is wide open. You just put your name down. All you need is a name.
And it is like any open mic, hit or miss. But because it's here in Asbury Park, it's a lot more hit than a lot of other open mics.
Misses. I mean, I'm not going to say any show, no matter where you are, any show is going to get all kinds of stuff, and we'll leave it at that.
I feel like Asbury Park brings out the best in a lot of people, though. So tell us about the time you met Gary Coleman.
Gary Coleman, he was actually awesome. This was at it was either the first or second New York Comic Con. in the really early years that it started at the Javits Center. I was working for Wizards of the Coast, the company that makes Magic the Gathering. And I was there as a judge for their large tournaments. I was going to start this whole thing off by outing myself as a huge nerd. Go around. She's delivering my smoothie.
Oh, nice, nice.
That's what we're making in the background. So I was there to judge the Magic tournaments, and one of the players that we had signed up. And I'm looking at this dude's name. It just says G. Coleman in my notes, and he was there like at these like super casual tables off to the side. And I'm like, wouldn't it be hilarious that this is actually him? Because I knew he was there at some of the booths for the actual convention. And it was actually him, and he played Magic. He said his girlfriend taught him how to play, and he was showing me his horrible deck, and
he was real proud of it too, wasn't he?
He was super proud of it.
Yeah,
he was awesome.
Good for him.
I was about to ask him to say the thing, and if I did, he would not say the thing.
Yeah, no, don't ask him to say the thing. No,
he did not like saying the thing.
Rest his soul, he did not like saying the thing.
He wanted to talk about Magic, and I let him talk about Magic, and that was even cooler.
That's what you're there for. That's what he was there for. So our next guest is not coincidentally sharing a last name with me. Laura Ginsberg, you've been working on some poetry lately. Hello, hi, how you doing?
Hello.
Tell us what you've been working on.
I've been writing basically since college with a minor in creative writing, mostly short stories, but I have found that poetry is a lot faster and easier to write and edit. So I'm working on pulling together images and words and color and turn it into a much more visual poetry kind of project. And I'm also trying to figure out if I can turn that into some sort of an app.
Fun. And in our pre-show questionnaire, you said that Whiplash, in your opinion, is the most underappreciated movie. Why is Whiplash so great, and why should people appreciate it more?
I don't know that it's underappreciated. I think people who have seen it really do appreciate it, but I don't know that a lot of people, my friends, my people, have seen it, or it's not widely known and chatted about. So I think it's just amazing how it all pulls together, and the drumming is phenomenal.
Nice. So we've invited you both here today to play the movie game 5 to 9, where you'll have to connect 2 actors through no fewer than 5 and no more than 9 movies. Here's how we're going to play. Before our show, I asked you both to write down the names of 5 actors. We put those names into a hat. These are the names shaking.
It's a real hat.
It is. No, it really is a hat. And we put those names in a hat, and now we're going to randomly draw 2 of them that you're going to have to connect. All right, so I'm going to reach in here. Now, you guys had to write down the names. So obviously, these are going to be actors that at least one of you is familiar with. I told you.
Write down Gary Coleman?
Should have.
And I did warn you guys not to screw yourselves. But it looks like our first from is going to be Judy Greer. Judy Greer. You got a good picture of Judy Greer in your head. She's having an amazing career. She's
lots of pictures of
shows
Judy
up
Greer
in
in my head.
everything. And we're going from Judy Greer to Ed Norton. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys each a game card, a 5 to 9 game card from my 5 to 9 game pad. So Laura, here's your game card. Jason, here is your game card. And what you're going to do is you're going to grab a pen. Here you go. And you're going to write on the top in the from, you're going to put Judy Greer. In the to, you're going to put Ed Norton. So let's jot those down. And we're also going to draw a third name as a wild card. And if you can go through that wild card, you can earn bonus points. And that wild card is going to be, let's see, Samuel L. Jackson. Oh, he's been in a million movies with literally everyone. The opportunities abound for connecting through Samuel L. Jackson. So you have the scoring rules right here on your 5 to 9 game cards at the bottom. And listeners, you can get the game card at our website, 5to9game.com. Our goal today, like every episode, is to play through 3 rounds of 5 to 9 and get as many points as possible. Jason and Laura, you'll be playing together, and I'll be here on the sidelines to offer some help along the way, but not too much help. Names from our first 2 rounds are going to come from the hat, but the third round, should you make it that far, will be a listener challenge submitted to us through Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. So, When we get to that point, I will announce who has submitted our challenge for today, and that person would win a prize. We'll see if we get that far, and you can win a prize for someone, TBD. But those of you listening right now, you can submit a from, to, and wild card for your round 3 challenge for a future episode by posting it and tagging at 529game on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. And if we pick your challenge, you'll win a prize as well. So, Jason, Laura, are you ready to play the game?
No.
God, no.
That's what makes this game so much fun. So I have to tell you, in my years and years of playing this game, prior to having this show with the game, I often find that people who think they're not going to be any good at it tend to be actually much better than they think they're going to be. So I offer that caveat to you, and with that, I ask you to start talking it through, start discussing, start figuring out who's in what, starting from Judy Greer, getting to Sam Jackson, which there is a super easy connection I can pop off the top of my head, but I'm going to let you guys figure that out, and getting all the way to Ed Norton. I'm not going to mention what all 3 of these actors have in common, but there is something all 3 of these actors have in common that makes this a relatively easy first round. So, attack.
Awesome. I can't think of a single movie Judy Greer is in. I got like 10 TV shows off the top of my head.
I mean, she's in a lot of those, like, she's generally the sidekick.
Yeah.
13 to 13, going on 30 to 13 or something.
Yeah, 13 going on
Okay.
30, sure. Big, but for girls.
And then
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl. There's a Katherine Heigl movie, I think she's
Yeah,
also-
yeah, she was in 27 Dresses, that's right.
27
That was it, yeah,
Dresses.
okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, so that gives us Katherine Heigl. That gives us who was in 13 going on 30? That was
Ruffalo is in there.
Sure,
yeah,
sure. You could get to Mark Ruffalo that way from Judy Greer, absolutely.
the Ben Affleck one. What's her name? Ben Affleck's wife in that?
Yep.
Garner, Jennifer Garner.
Jennifer Garner, that's
They,
it.
they were married for a time, popped out a couple of kids.
Yep.
Yep. And Jennifer Garner met Ben Affleck when they were doing Daredevil, which was a kind of turd of a film. But they were...
Gives me a Netflix series.
Yeah, that is true. The Netflix series is fantastic, and that's actually not only is that how Ben Affleck met Jennifer Garner, but then through Kevin Smith, Ben Affleck, their friendship produced Jennifer Garner being in a movie with Kevin Smith. What was the name of that one? It was like had Timothy Olyphant, and like Jennifer Garner was grieving the loss of.
Was that
Was it not Catch and Release? Something. It's got a fish name to it.
Oh, I think it was Catch and
Was
Release.
it Catch and Release?
Yes.
With the fish name.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna trust you on that one. So where else are we gonna go? We've got Judy Greer. We've got a couple different options for her. We got 13 going on 30. We've got 27 Dresses. What else was she in that you can ping around to? Or where else are we going to go either to get to Samuel L. Jackson or to get to Ed Norton?
I'm trying to think of like any lines I can make from even just those movies.
I mean, Mark Ruffalo, you mentioned, has been in a lot of movies
Yeah.
with a lot of famous people.
Mark Ruffalo. Okay, so Mark Ruffalo gives us really any MCU movie to get to Sam Jackson.
That's probably the best
Let's
way.
go. Let's go. Judy Greer was that 13 going on 30 with Mark Ruffalo?
Yeah.
Was in 13 Arrow 30 with Mark Ruffalo, who was in, let's just say, Hulk with Sam Jackson.
Actually, he was not in Hulk. That was the one.
That was the Ed Norton movie,
That was
right?
the Ed Norton movie.
That's
Oh
what-
yeah.
okay,
Well,
what's
you got there too. Also, Sam Jackson's not in Hulk. Sam Jackson is not in the
There's
Incredible
like
Hulk.
85 Marvel movies I could have picked.
There are, and you literally picked the only one that did not have Mark Ruffalo and Samuel L.
Yeah.
Jackson.
Yeah, bonus round.
For sure. However, I mean, you could leap to pick a different one, and you've got it.
Sure, let's go.
The funny thing is, we're trying to get to Ed Norton, and we got there
Right.
a little too fast.
And wrong.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely wrong. And part of the challenge of this game is you have to do it in at least 5 moves. Even if you could say, like, this person was in a movie with that person, 1 move, boom, done, you did not win the game. You got to go out and come back again.
Can we backwards a house rule of all the Marvel movies that we can put in there?
No, not right now. House rule's going to come into it in our second round.
That's not fair. You live in the same house.
It's not even a house.
My house rule is different.
Okay.
Okay.
So where are we going?
My house rule is that Sam Jackson was in Hulk.
Why don't you just pick a different movie the two of them were in
I
together?
don't want to.
Because there are many others.
Let's go with, let's see, when did he start doing those? I guess I'll just pick one of the Avengers.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so Avengers. I'm just gonna
Sure,
put Avengers.
perfect. Done.
Avengers.
Done deal.
Ed
One
Hall.
of the name of the
Little-
movie I should be saying right now.
Avengers Sam Jackson.
Mhm. All right, so you got to your wild card. Now you still have to get over to Ed Norton.
Can we go through Sam Jackson more than once?
No, you cannot. Unfortunately, you cannot repeat actors or movies. But, Sam Jackson is in a million movies,
Right.
and it's not that long of a jump to get from him to Ed Norton.
No. Can we get just
What was the one where Ed Norton was a priest with?
what was that movie called?
It's called Leap of Faith. He actually wrote and directed that one.
Huh.
And it had Ben Stiller and Jenna Elfman back when she was famous for being Dharma in Dharma and Greg.
And then he was also with Anthony Hopkins in.
Red Dragon.
Yes.
The remake of the prequel to Silence of the Lambs, which at the time it was not a prequel. At the time it first came out, it was just the first movie in the series. When they made the sequel, they had recast, but then they decided once they had made Hannibal, they wanted to get a third movie out of it. They said, why don't we just remake the original one? And we can just, de-age Anthony Hopkins in it. So yeah, you can definitely go from Ed Norton to Anthony Hopkins in Red Dragon. How are we getting from Anthony Hopkins back to Sam Jackson, though?
Crickets. I don't know.
Dead Air is the best
Dead
kind.
Air is the best movie.
It's
the
the-
fantastic movie.
it's the
Did
best.
you see that one?
I did miss Dead Air, unfortunately. I saw Air Bud, which is kind of like Dead Air, but with a golden retriever. There is actually a poster on the wall right behind us, signed by the beautiful, wonderful, phenomenally talented Rosario Dawson. And it is atypical in that the director who directed it, he's branching out, though. In his first bunch of films, he worked with predominantly African-American actors, but Spike Lee is one of the great talents, one of the great directors in the game today, in the game for decades, and has definitely worked with, if we're talking about Ed Norton, and there's literally a picture of Ed Norton right behind us.
Where do you think I got his name?
Excellent point. Just looking around the room. Let's see. I'm going to go with Ed Norton. I'm going to go with lamp. And I'm going to go with laptop. Was microphone in a movie? I think microphone was in a movie. So there's a really easy connection. Unfortunately, it's going to be maybe even a little too short. But where are we now? We're stuck on Sam Jackson. Seems like an impossible place to be stuck. Just start listing Sam Jackson movies. He only had 500 of them.
Right. Let's go with, the rest of the MCU.
Sure.
Then Pulp Fiction. Kingsman. Star Wars.
Absolutely. He popped up in 4 episodes. He briefly appeared-ish in the latest Rise of the Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. Was it just a voice, or was he on screen too?
I think it was just a voice, but I would like to think...
It's enough for a credit.
In my heart of hearts, I would like to think that the how it should have ended on YouTube should be canon, and so like his Jedi spirit showed up, so I'm going to count it. But, we're trying to get to Ed Norton, so what's a fast way to get from Sam Jackson to Ed Norton? How many steps have we at? How many movies have we at so far? 2 movies so far, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge is we could go there so fast by just going straight to the MCU because obviously Ed Norton was in the Hulk, as we already discussed. Well, the Incredible Hulk. Let's not disparage the entire MCU by dragging Ang Lee into this. And though honestly, I'm not sure why Ang Lee's Hulk couldn't count as canon. Nothing about it is contrary to what's in the MCU. The MCU picks up with
nothing happened in the movie.
With Bruce after the events of that movie anyway, or the events of an origin story. So they didn't bother giving us yet another origin. And if they're going to change his face between Ed Norton and Mark Ruffalo, why not change his face between Eric Bana and Ed Norton? I think that either we need to toss both Hulk movies or just decide that Ang Lee's Hulk is canon. That's my feeling. Fight me. Literally fight me.
Okay.
It's okay. I don't know. I think just like nothing happened in that movie, so they're not saying it's not canon because like they want to like take away what the movie added. It's like go ahead and call it canon. It doesn't change anything.
No.
Here's 90 minutes of nothing being added to an overarching plot. So who cares?
That's my point.
So the movie's not canon because it doesn't contribute to the conversation of MCU.
Yeah. Well, Universal had the rights to Hulk, and so they had made that movie, but it tanked so badly they had no interest in making a sequel to it or even rebooting it. And so when Marvel Studios, before Disney bought them, knew that they wanted to start putting together the Avengers, they had to make a deal with Universal. And so the deal they made with Universal at the time was, hey, we're going to fund a Hulk movie, and you will keep the box office, or maybe it was half the box office. I think it was the whole box office. I think it was half. Is that okay? But after that, we have the right to use that Hulk, our version of the Hulk, in our movies that we're going to make. And so that was the deal, and that's how Universal said, yeah, go ahead. We're not going to make another one. You want to pay for us to make a bunch of money? Go for it. And they did, and the movie, to this point, is the lowest grossing film in the entire MCU. But that is why you don't get another Hulk solo movie, because Universal owns the rights to make the Hulk movies, and so Marvel can use him, but they can't give him his own movie again, which is how we wound up with that kind of arc that we saw go through the end of Age of Ultron into Thor Ragnarok, and then into Avengers Infinity War, and finally resolving itself with Endgame, where Hulk did have a story arc. They just could not give him his own movie for that because they couldn't use it for the MCU.
So back to the task at hand here.
Yes.
Is Quentin Tarantino one of those directors that always puts himself in all of his movies?
In most of his movies, yes.
Did he put himself in Once Upon a Time?
I just watched it recently, and I don't recall his mug showing up in that.
Then I got nothing.
You got no. Well, hold on.
What I was hoping to do, and I got some notes here. I was going to have Sam Jackson to Pulp Fiction, which did have Quentin Tarantino in it.
Sure.
Hoping that he was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Trying to get to where?
Which gives us to Brad Pitt. Which gets us to.
Brad Pitt was also in Inglourious Bastards, but was Quentin Tarantino showing up in that? And to be honest,
or any of the actors that he uses.
Sure, any of the actors.
I'll take anybody.
Yeah.
Uma Thurman's in a lot of them. Where are we trying to get to again? Brad Pitt?
To Brad Pitt, to Fight Club, to Norton.
That's a really good point. So we're trying to get from Sam Jackson to Brad Pitt, you're saying?
Travolta through any of that?
I can't recall a movie Travolta was in.
I'm hoping I can use just any
Brad
of the actors
Pitt.
that Quentin Tarantino uses to get from Pulp Fiction straight to Once Upon a Time.
Well, I'll tell you what you can do is you can go Sam Jackson, instead of using Pulp Fiction, you can use him in Django Unchained, which had Leonardo DiCaprio, who was in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That'll do.
That'll get you there.
I didn't see Django. I didn't even think about it.
Oh, you are missing out, my friend. People get murdered. Blood is everywhere.
It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. I assumed.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. I
So
mean,
okay, so we're going from Sam Jackson was in Django with Leo. Lunar Nerner to Capricorn. Who was in Once Upon a Time
Sure was.
with Brad Pitt.
Who, by the way, for like 1 year, I think it was 4th grade, went to school with David Spade. David Spade has like this whole like comedy bit about like Brad Pitt's in his yearbook, and yeah, for like 1 year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt, who was in Fight Club with Ed Norton.
Okay, now how many movies was that?
5.
Okay, so what we're going to do is at the bottom of the card, we're going to total up the points. We have 10 minus the number of movies. So 10 minus 5, you put 5 in that box.
Right, so we've got 13 going to 30 to Avengers to Django to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood to Fight Club. Yep, 5 movies.
There you go, and that's why the numbers are right here on the card. So we'll jot that down, and we went through the wild card, so that's 3 bonus points. We have no house rule in this round. Was anybody on the list an SNL cast member? That is a perennial bonus point.
Oh, we forgot Kevin Bacon.
Oh, yeah, no, we did not get Kevin Bacon is 2
I am
points.
so bad with Kevin Bacon. I was never good at that game. I can name 2 movies he was ever in. I'm sure he's a great guy. I got nothing.
I met Kevin Bacon once in like right next to Central Park.
Was he a great guy?
He seemed really decent.
Told you.
Yeah, walking his dog, and then came back later with Keira Sedgwick walking the dog again.
What kind of dog?
I don't even recall. I just remember there being Kevin Bacon, and
Waste of a story. Didn't even know
yeah,
what kind of dog
no,
it was.
I didn't meet the dog at all. I saw the dog, and
Get the dog's name?
No, I
Did
did
you
not
pet it?
get. No,
It was the worst story.
it's the worst.
It's just-
The dog was doing his best. All right, so how many points are we going to total up top? We got the 5 points for the movies. We got the 3 points for the wild card. So like soccer, it's always a low-scoring game. But, you know, we're not going into football scores here. But for us, 8 points is a pretty great score. We're going to pop that 8 on top of the card.
I'll take 8.
And that is our first round. Let's see if we can polish off another round. We're going to do this one a little faster. You know, as soon as we drew these names, the MCU connection was so tight because Judy Greer was an Ant-Man in the
there you go.
MCU.
She totally was.
The first one?
Yeah, both of them, really.
Who was
who was she? She's Scott Lang's ex-wife.
She is.
She is, and so she's in both Ant-Man movies, and so you can go straight from there into, you know, we can go obviously to Paul Rudd, who was in, you know, pick your a movie with Sam Jackson, but we can definitely go with Star Wars. Star Wars. It's bigger than Star Wars now, but like he's in Avengers Endgame with Sam Jackson, and then you just kind of rattle around the MCU for a while until eventually you wind up back at Ed Norton because who plays Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross? William Hurt, is that who it is, or is that the other Hurt? There's 2 different Hurts. There's John Hurt and there's William Hurt, and I always forget which one is which. But it hurts. And William, it's William. I had it right the first time. William Hurt, who was, of course, in the original Incredible Hulk movie with Ed Norton. The problem is, I'm not sure if that's 3 movies. So I think that's only 3 movies. So you'd have to kind of rattle around a little more. Well, Robert Downey Jr. was in Avengers with Mark Ruffalo, and you kind of bounce around. You eventually wind back in the spot. It's a little cheap, but it's definitely a fast way to play around and rack up some points fast. But think about those things next time, because this time we're going to add. What are we going to add? We're going to add the wild card. I'm going to crack open my laptop, and we're going to spin, not the wild card, the house rule for bonus points. So let's crack this sucker open. Let's go to my spinning wheel, and Laura, I'm going to ask you to please, if you would, spin the wheel.
That actually spins.
Yeah, it spins. You got to click it, but you got to left click it. There you go. Now you got to left click it.
I can't click it.
All right, it's spinning. And this time for our house rule, we have playing it straight. So what does playing it straight mean? Playing it straight is when a typically comedic actor is in a totally dramatic role. So if you can slip that in for every one of those you slip in, you're going to wind up with a bonus point.
Yeah, I'm not going to be good at that one.
No. I mean, certainly they say drama is easy, comedy is hard, which, of course, the play on dying is easy, comedy is hard. But let's see. We are going to be going from Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn, which, typically a comedic actress, making her national burst onto the scene in Laugh-In. Roland and Martin's Laugh-In. And we're going to Brad Pitt. I know we just used Brad Pitt, but we got to get to Brad Pitt from Goldie Hawn. And, I mean, there's like a two-step way to do it, of course, because, Goldie Hawn is married, of course, to Kurt Russell, who the movie you just mentioned before, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood with Brad Pitt. Boom. 2 movies and, done. And when I say 2 movies, pick a movie with Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell. Overboard, which
Overboard,
I know one of Laura's favorite films.
It's hilarious.
Laura, tell me why Overboard is one of your favorite films. You can watch it anytime.
I don't know. I really don't.
No, you can't put your finger on it?
I feel like it much more is the nostalgia of...
Just hit the mic a bunch of
I was
times.
going to throw this pen everywhere.
Yeah, just like start playing drums on the mic stand. Perfect. Yeah, hit my mic stand
Yeah,
next.
don't do it.
I'm just like turning the TNT movies on like Sunday and just leaving it on all day. I feel like it just is that nostalgic time.
I like it. So we're going to have to get through John Candy. Now, from Goldie Hawn to John Candy, I can't imagine it can be that tough considering how huge they both were in the 80s. But then getting out to Brad Pitt is going to be a little tougher. Although Brad Pitt did have his film debut in Thelma and Louise, which was 1991, so very close to the 80s, and certainly starring actresses who were also huge in the 80s. Just worth thinking about, but of course, it's your round to play. So jot down your names. I'm going to give you guys new game cards. Boop. I should maybe load you guys up with these things in advance. That way I don't have to keep peeling them off right
We're
into
learning.
the microphone.
It's episode 1.
It is.
Everyone learned something in episode 1.
That's why
Yeah.
it's called a pilot. Like one thing I learned in episode 1 is don't touch the mic stand, Jason.
I didn't touch it. I threw a pen at it.
It's like touching it.
Learn a difference.
With projectiles. With projectiles. All right. So can we get from Goldie Hawn to Brad Pitt through John Candy? Now, John Candy is definitely a comedic actor. I can't recall a film where he played it straight. Can you recall a film where he was just nothing but, drama? I can't think of one.
He had his moments, but he was never like...
I mean, the only one I can kind of come close to, he was in he was in a movie that was named for a song. Was it Only You? Was that the one he was in? I Only Have Eyes for You.
Familiar.
There
Yeah.
was one of those movies, but he was kind of like Unlucky in Love. He was in so many great movies. But and off the top of my head, he was definitely in a movie with Kevin Bacon. But let's see where you guys can figure out some stuff. Let's go.
So I'm going to defer to you as the Goldie Hawn expert.
Only the Lonely, that was the one he was in.
Only the Lonely.
I knew it was like some kind of older song name.
Well, there was Overboard, of course.
Sure.
Right. Which had the grandfather from Gilmore Girls. I know
It
that.
did.
Yeah.
Edward Herrmann, yeah.
Yes.
Edward Herrmann played her husband. He just passed away a couple of years ago. I mean, maybe it's longer than that, but it still feels pretty recent and fresh. But Edward Herrmann was in a lot of movies.
As was.
Name one
Name one?
that had John Candy in it.
Oh, that had John Candy? No, I can't get straight to John Candy from it.
Because that would be... that'd be aces if you could do that.
Can you just win this round for me, please?
She was also in some movie where she was like a football coach or something.
Yeah. It was Wildcats, I think it was. Had the first film collaboration between Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. They went on to make 2 more movies together: White Men Can't Jump and Money Train.
And then the Wives. There was the Wives movie.
First Wives Club,
First
sure.
Wives Club, which is a
Sure.
little.
There's enough of a cast there to
Older.
kind of
Bounce
branch
around
out
a
from
little
that. Why am I drawing a blank on our daughter's name?
Kate Hudson.
Yes.
That can get us into.
Can you think of a movie the two of them were in together, though?
Didn't they do something together?
I think they did.
What were they in together?
You know, was there a movie with like it was a Kate Hudson movie, but like Goldie was like just had like a quick on as her mom, like as her actual mom.
Yeah,
in the
I
movie
think so.
too.
Yeah, but I don't know what that was.
And it was a not so subtle nod. Mm-hmm. Can't think of what movie it was because I don't think I've seen any of their movies. But again, defer to you.
I can't think of one that Goldie Hawn was in with her daughter Kate Hudson. Goldie Hawn was most recently in Snatched with Amy Schumer, but I can't think of one with Kate Hudson.
Does it connect to Bill Murray at all?
I mean, of course, there's a really easy connection to Bill Murray. Always. Always. Everybody just wants to work with the Murricane.
Are we allowed to connect Snatched to Snatch? Because they're super similar sounding.
Are they different movies?
Snatch is a very different movie.
Well, I've seen Snatch, obviously. What is Snatched?
Didn't you just say that she was in that?
Oh, yeah, Snatch. The one I just talked about, yes.
Just...
My brain went to Snatch. Can we connect them because they sound the same? No.
Because that'd be cool.
Can we connect them because of who's in them? I mean, you can try.
Because I get the Brad Pitt real easy if I could do that.
Well, Brad Pitt was in Snatch. That is true.
So is everybody else. So
A lot of people. You can definitely go through that.
At some point.
Yeah, go for it.
So we're going backwards, and we'll end up at...
I'm taking every angle I could think of here because I'm going to let you handle the Goldie Hawn problem. I'm going to see if I can figure out...
I love that we're calling it the Goldie Hawn problem. I think honestly the Goldie Hawn problem is that she's not in enough movies anymore.
Clearly not enough because I can't think of any.
Well, I can get from Goldie Hawn to John Candy in 2 quick moves.
Yeah? How?
I mean, I can help you out with
keep
it.
trying.
And definitely for the sake of time, because we are running long on this, I can tell you that Goldie Hawn was in House Sitter with Steve Martin, which is a great movie if you've never seen it. I mean, just a fantastic movie. And of course, Steve Martin was in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy. So that's a really easy connection. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons watching Camp Candy on like ABC or something, where it was like John Candy was a cartoon camp counselor.
Oh, yeah.
And that was I'm not even sure if he really provided the voice or they just kind of animated him and he didn't show up for it, which they did with a lot of Saturday morning cartoons at the time. But, how are we going to get from John Candy to Brad Pitt? That's the trouble. Y'all just sitting here working it through. Talk it out. You got to talk it out. You got to feed off each other.
Yeah,
John Candy stuff off the top of my head. So we've got
Uncle Buck.
Sure.
Buck.
And who else is in Uncle Buck?
Are any of the kids grown up? Like that would probably be the best
who was
route to
the
go down.
youngest kid in Uncle Buck?
I have zero ideas.
Little blonde kid.
I could picture the kid.
John Hughes was so excited that his next movie starred that little blonde kid, and John Candy only gave him 24 hours of time to be as a much smaller part in that movie. Anything? Ruined the entire Christmas box office for any other movie that year.
Probably Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay Culkin was in Uncle
was
Buck.
Macaulay
You are
Culkin. Okay,
correct.
yeah.
Yeah, he was
Okay.
the kid.
Home Alone was the next one I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah.
Yeah,
So then
absolutely.
I was going to see where this Uncle Buck thing went, but I remember Home Alone, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so John Hughes made Uncle Buck, and then he made Home Alone. And he cast Macaulay Culkin based on how good of a job he'd done in Uncle Buck.
Yeah.
Very small part in that, but that was his first film. And listen, if your first film is opposite John Candy, directed by John Hughes, it's a pretty good place to start. And I will tell you, just getting back to our conversation about The Incredible Hulk, Macaulay Culkin's Twitter handle is @IncredibleCulk, which I think is really great.
Not the weirdest thing he did.
No. I think the pizza-themed band, which did perform right here in
yeah.
Asbury Park
Yeah,
at the Stone
a
Pony.
block behind us right now.
Yeah. May have been the weirdest
that was
thing I'm
the Pony.
familiar
That
with.
was that was at Wonder Bar.
Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a bigger show than that.
No, it was not.
Okay.
It should have been.
Pizza theme?
Yeah, pizza-themed band.
Yeah, what
All
were
the
they called?
songs are about pizza.
It was a pizza themed.
Sounds real cheesy.
Was it Velvet Underground? Yeah, Pizza Underground.
Pizza Underground? All right.
It was a pizza-themed Velvet Underground tribute band.
So one thing that's a shame is if we're going to use Steve Martin to John Candy through Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, we can't also use Kevin Bacon in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Unfortunately, he was the taxi driver. It was a smaller part, but he was in it, man. But we can't use it if we're going to already use it for this. So where are we going? We're trying to get from John Candy to Brad Pitt, and we can go through either earlier Brad Pitt movies or, I mean, there are not many later John Candy movies. To be honest, his last movie, released posthumously, was Wagons East, about a pioneer who'd kind of given up on heading west and said, I'm just going to go back home, which also starred John Lewis. Who, of course, was in one of Jason's favorite movies of all time, Robin Hood Men in Tights.
That's true.
He was Prince John. Mm-hmm. I have a mole.
Prince John. There's a scene in that movie where, like, the movie is super quotable. We no one's denying how quotable that movie is. There's one particular quote, and my girlfriend's in the room with us here. There's one particular quote from that movie that we say probably every single day, and have in the entire time knowing each other, and years before that. And it's when all the knights are coming down the stairs, and it's him going, "I hope it's worth the noise." My favorite line in any movie ever.
John Lewis is phenomenal.
And working in pro audio, it comes up a lot.
Man.
All right, so if we take John Candy through Home Alone, even through Home Alone, is Joe Pesci a thing we could work with?
Sure. Oh yeah. If you're trying to get from Joe Pesci to Brad Pitt,
that's got to be a lot easier than go through.
Absolutely.
Go through Macaulay Culkin.
I mean, just think about some stuff that Joe Pesci's just start rattling off Joe Pesci movies.
And there's also Sandra, who was the mom?
Oh, the mom is Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara.
Yeah, who is just wrapping up her fantastic show, Schitt's Creek, SCHITT''S. We're not cussing on this show. But she's phenomenal.
She's great.
She is. Anytime she and Eugene Levy get together, it's going to be magic. Between that show, Best in Show, For Your Consideration, A Mighty Wind, all those Christopher Guest movies. Obviously, she was Waiting for Guffman. But I think our generation kind of first witnessed her in Beetlejuice.
Yep.
As Lydia's mom, who we just hated her. And then she was in Home Alone, and we didn't hate her, which is weird because she was much more awful in Home Alone, where she lost track of her kid and left without him to go to Paris, France. But she kind of redeemed herself a little bit. In Beetlejuice, all she ever wanted to be was a good stepmom, with a nice looking house, with some sort of Nouveau Deco art theme going to it, and less Harry Belafonte if she would prefer.
Little less. All right, so that gives us. We can go through that and get the whole Beetlejuice route.
Sure.
Which is what? Winona Ryder and Michael Keaton?
Sure could. Who else was in that? Oh, my goodness, who else was in that? Who else was in Beetlejuice? Because you're right there. You're knocking on the door.
Brad Pitt? I don't know.
No, not Brad Pitt. Who used to own the house in Beetlejuice? They're the stars of the movie. I mean, Lydia's important, but who are the stars?
She's got the curly hair. Gina Davis.
Yes. Who was in, what did we say right at the beginning? We talked about earlier Brad Pitt
Thelma
movies.
and Louise.
Thelma and Louise with Brad Pitt.
There we go.
Boom. Jot it down. Let's total some points.
So that gives us, was it House Sitter we were using? Is that the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay,
we went from Goldie Hawn to House Sitter.
Planes, Trains, Automobiles, John Candy. To Home Alone.
With
a dead pen.
Catherine O'Hara.
There we go. Now I got it. Mm-hmm. Home Alone with Catherine O'Hara.
The pen came back to life like Goldie Hawn did in Death Becomes Her.
I used to love that movie.
Mm-hmm, with Meryl Streep. And at the time as a kid, I couldn't recognize Bruce Willis with a mustache. It just didn't compute in my kid head.
Catherine O'Hara and Beetlejuice with...
Gina.
We just said it.
Yep,
Gina
Gina Davis.
Gina Davis.
Yeah. Hollywood never really forgave her for some reason for the pirate movie she was in, the island movie with the Gina Davis. What was it? I'm blanking on the pirate movie she was in right now. Somebody want to help me with that one?
No idea.
No, I think Private Joker from Full Metal Jacket was in it. Matthew Modine, he was in it. Cutthroat Island. It was for a long time the biggest bomb in Hollywood history. And after that, she did not have...
how far we've come.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She loves that you bring that up, by the way.
I'm sure she does. I'm sure. Well, she was in The Long Kiss Goodnight after that, but with Sam Jackson, but the damage was already done. She had a couple of smaller parts. She tried moving over to TV with the Gina Davis show. I honestly loved her in her brief arc on Grey's Anatomy. I thought she was really great. Little known fact, she's like 6 feet tall.
A League of Their Own was
Oh, yeah. I mean, just
beautiful.
Perfect. It's a perfect movie.
Oh, great movie.
There's very few perfect movies in the world. And Penny Marshall made a perfect movie with that one. So where are we? How did we get there?
So we got Goldie Hawn. Was in House Sitter with Steve Martin, which is in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles with John Candy, who was in, my notes are awful here, Home Alone.
Sure.
With Catherine O'Hara, who was in Beetlejuice, Gina Davis, who was in Thelma and Louise with Brad Pitt.
Boom. How many movies?
5.
5 movies. That's the best we can do. So we'll do 10 minus 5. Yes, we got the wild card of John Candy. Now, did we hit the house rule? Did we get a comedic actor in a totally straight film? We had a lot of comedic actors in this one. But were any of these films kind of straight movies? I mean, I'm not sure we can call Gina Davis a comedic actor per se, although she's been in a lot of great comedies, including maybe one of my favorite underwatched, overlooked movies with Bill Murray and with Randy Quaid, which, of course, right now on the spot, I'm blanking on the
but
title.
I thought it was your favorite.
God, 1990, 1991. It was we were talking about this last week. Yeah, we were just talking about it. It was a heist with Bill Murray was the clown. Quick change, and they couldn't quite get out of the city. But I'm not going to call her a comedic actress per se. But I don't think we got our house rule this time. Did we get an SNL cast member? Any people on SNL casts? I mean, Catherine O'Hara and John Candy were both on SCTV. Steve Martin, though he's hosted so many times, has never actually been a cast member.
Really?
Which I didn't realize as a kid because he was having a real moment in the 90s. He was just in every movie. And like late 80s, I was watching the best of Saturday Night Live on Nick at Night. And he might as well have been a cast member. He was in so many episodes back in the early days. But though he's been on about 30 episodes of SNL, he's never actually been a cast member. So we did not get that bonus point. So we are back again with 8 points, and we're going to have to leave it there. We've run over our time. We did not get to our third round today with the challenge, but I want to apologize for all the actors who spent a career building a body of work, whose faces we know, but whose names we may have forgotten or never bothered to learn. And, of course, all the hardworking writers, directors, and publicists who picked the perfect, most marketable name for a film that we may have fumbled through and or butchered. Today, I swear we really do love your work. All right, but let me see. I got all these cards I'm flipping through. We did not make it to round 3, but Jason, Laura, thank you guys so much for taking the time to be on 5 to 9 today for playing our game. You've each won the official 5 to 9 gamepad, which comes with 50 game cards and is also available now at 5to9game.com. Listeners, make sure to check out. Yeah, you can crinkle that right by the microphone.
I want people to feel like they're here.
Yeah, crinkle it for sure.
Holding it along with me.
Literally, I was about to plug your stuff, but now I'm not gonna.
He's gonna.
Listeners, please do make sure if you're in the Asbury Park area to check out on Tuesday nights. Jason hosts the open mic at the Asbury Hotel. On Thursday nights, he hosts a game night. So if you like today's game, there's many more games for you to play on Thursday nights at the Asbury Hotel. Laura, you're working on poetry, and someday soon we'll all be able to take a look at some of it. Do you have actually a social media for your poetry? You just kind of launched, actually? No, not ready.
Yeah.
Not ready for that just yet. But listeners, make sure to check those things out. And if you 529ers listening at home want to be on the show, you can enter for a chance to be a contestant on 529 by beating us at our own game. Just download or purchase official 529 game cards at 529game.com. That's the number 5, TO, the number 9, game.com. Beat our score for either of today's challenges. Post a photo of your winning game card on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, and tag at 529game in your post. This has been 5 to 9. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg, and I was going to cue up some music, but apparently my stuff is dead, so we're just going to see if we can edit that out, and I'm going to play the music from the beginning, and you can bring that music back up again, and boop. This has been 5 to 9. I'm your host, Eric Ginsberg. Our show is recorded at a shared universe podcast studio on the boardwalk in beautiful Asbury Park, New Jersey. Our sound engineer today is Chris. You can subscribe to 5 to 9 podcast through the Apple Podcast app, Google Play Store, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube if you'd like to look at us, or literally everywhere else you get your podcasts. Please play with us online through social media on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. You can play one of today's challenges or make up your own and play with or against the global 5 to 9 community. Just don't forget to tag at 5 to 9 game when you do, and make sure to check out our next episode, when our guests will be poet Kay Swish and a perennial man about town, Ben Feld. I'm Eric Ginsberg. Thanks for listening, and let's play together again soon.